Higgledy podcast.
Cool. Final bit of news. This happened today. Which again we're hot on the money, except for by the time this is uploaded, it will be a couple of days old, but at least it's not a whole week old. Square Enix have sold or are selling. They haven't finalized the deal yet, but they're in the process of selling the deal. You know what I'm trying to say? Words. The studios that make Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, and Thief, one of my favorite game franchises of all time, although I didn't love Square Enix's Thief, to a company called Embracer, I believe their name was. Embracer are known, amongst other things, for doing, like, owning THQ and such like. So they're like an owner of lots of big companies already. But yeah. This was an interesting bit of news to drop today.
I don't really have a race in this horse because I haven't played Deus Ex, Thief, and I've only played a tiny little bit of the first Tomb Raider reboot. So I don't really have an opinion on it. But I mean, if I just quickly reading through the article, it says they were neglecting Deus Ex and whatever. I mean, if fans of those games end up getting, new entries into the franchises that are really good, then I am happy for them. And if it's really bad, then I am sad for them.
So here's the situation with those games. So you've got the Tomb Raider reboots, which I think the original one, the one you've played, is decent. It's tonally quite off from Tomb Raider, but it's also like a gritty reboot. Rise of the Tomb Raider, I think, was the next one, is much closer in tone to the originals, although still not there. It kind of balances the two quite nicely and is a fun game. And then Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I think, isn't as good story-wise, but it's still a fun Tomb Raider game. I wish they would get to a point where it's that fully middle ground between the two, where you want it to be a more realistic take on the character, but also give us the dual pistols at the very least, that sort of thing. But they're making a new one already. That's cool. I've enjoyed all of them to a point anyways, so I'm cool with that. Deus Ex, so Deus Ex Human Revolution is a 2012 game. That's the third game in the series. It is fucking phenomenal. I would recommend Deus Ex 1, but it's 1999, so a bit of a hard pill to swallow. I think it's 1999, it might be 1997. It's a bit of a hard pill to swallow when it comes to it's aged, and it's clunky, and but in terms of story and writing, it's superb. Human Revolution is much easier to go back to because obviously it's like modern game making, but it's still phenomenal. Then they made Mankind Divided, and Mankind Divided is a weird one because Mankind Divided is a direct sequel to Human Revolution. You play as the same character, and in many ways it shares a lot of the DNA of Human Revolution. In many ways it is a good, fun game with a decent story, and it's also about half a game. You get to the end of the story and you go, that was it. That was the entire story, and then it's very much got sequel bait at the end, and you go, I feel like you wrote about half the story, and then your bosses told you to make this into a game, and you did, and that's what happened. And then they haven't said anything about what they're doing with that IP since then, so that's been shit. And then since they acquired Thief, they made a very weird Thief game, in the sense of the Thief games. There's a trilogy of games. Thief, the original Thief Dark Project, along with Deus Ex, are two of the most influential games in terms of immersive sims and stealth gameplay. So if you are fans of those sorts of games, you have those two to oh thanks, basically. Thief went on to have a trilogy, all about a character called Garrett. And then in 2014, Square Enix announced a Thief reboot / sequel / who knows. You play as a character called Garrett, who, like the original Garrett, is missing an eye. However, there are hints in the game that both the original Garrett and the events of the original game and the organizations of the original game all exist within the world of Thief 2014. So that's weird. As opposed to being a sarcastic and kind of wry-humored Garrett, you're not you're not funny at all, and you dress like a gimp, which is not great on character design. Like visually, it's a visual feast, but gameplay-wise, it's a bit redundant compared to the original Thieves. Like it's far more simplified, and in terms of like gameplay, in terms of like exploring the immersive sim side of Thief, it's lackluster in that regard, and the story's a mess. And it wasn't a huge success, so they never did anything with Thief again. So yeah, it's this kind of mixed bag of them doing okay stuff with some of those IPs and not great stuff with the rest of them. So I'd love to see them. I'd love to see Embracer, having purchased them, do good stuff with those IPs, because I like all three of those IPs a lot. Here's the other weird thing, though. So Embracer is this video publisher that also owns Gearbox and THQ Nordic, so two pretty prolific video game companies. They bought those, I can't remember the exact number, but it was in the billions of dollars. They bought these three studios with multiple IPs, not just those three, for $300 million is the deal that they're currently working on, which is a steal. Even if you go, oh, well, those IPs aren't that popular anymore, the legacy they have in gaming history means that if you made a good game out of them, word of mouth would basically mean that they would sell well. It's a good investment regardless, but for $300 million, that's a ridiculously good investment. And do you want to know why Square Enix have said that they're agreeing to this $300 million deal?
I would love to know.
The transaction will assist the company in this is a quote, by the way. The transaction will assist the company in adapting to the changes underway in the global business environment by establishing a more efficient allocation of resources, which will enhance corporate value by accelerating growth in the company's core business in the digital entertainment domain. In addition, the transaction enables the launch of new businesses by moving forward with investments in fields including blockchain, AI, and the cloud. That's right, they're selling 3 of the most iconic IPs and the studios that go with them for getting involved in the blockchain.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
You just go, oh, you are colossally stupid. Wow. Just wow.
I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast or not. I feel like I might not have. I might have just been talking to Tom about it. But I know when we first started talking about NFTs and stuff, to like early on in the days of the podcast, you tried explaining it to me, and I like even after that I didn't really understand it. And so like recently I decided to like look up what an NFT really was. And so I looked up NFT and then I was like reading up on it, and it was like using all these different words that I had no idea, you know, what they meant. So I was like, oh, right. So to understand this, I need to look up blockchain. So I looked up blockchain, and then I was like, I don't understand any of this. So I need to look up Bitcoin, and then like cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency. And like I went through like this whole journey of just reading up on everything and like trying to understand like why it was such a big deal, and like it's such an impact on the environment and everything, and you know, like the economy and whatever. And now I understand. And now I share the same hatred. Fully aware.
So here's the thing, I do want to be crystal clear. Square Enix getting involved in blockchain is not the same as Square Enix getting involved in NFTs. NFTs, categorically, undeniably, are crypto bullshit, complete waste of energy, complete waste of money. They are a JPEG that you can download. They are a farce, and they are mostly either a money laundering scheme or they are people taking advantage of people with too much money, which I guess you could say, oh, if you have enough money to buy an NFT, who cares if you're taking advantage of? Fair, but don't destroy the environment while you're doing it. If you want to scam someone, do it in a more green way. But the blockchain is not exactly the same as NFTs. So it's not all inherently that. It's just mostly that. Cool. I just wanted to get that out of the way. It doesn't mean that they're inherently falling for a scam. They just probably are falling for a scam. But NFTs are categorically a scam. So, yeah, I mean, there could be cool stuff that comes from the blockchain down the line, but I don't buy into any of it. At the same time, maybe someone will revolutionize something with the blockchain. I'll believe it when I see it. So,
I mean, that's the thing. Like, when I was reading up on it, you know, I was reading like articles on it as well, and you know, even arguments for it and whatever. And like, the main argument for it is, oh yeah, it's got a huge impact now. However, we are trying to reduce like the emissions and everything, and like just the amount of power it takes. And I'm like, okay, so you're saying it is a huge issue at the moment, but you're just going to keep on doing it until eventually someone might find a way of doing this.
Yep.
And they're like, oh, well, companies are, you know, looking at doing this and are trying to do it in a more environmentally friendly way. And I'm like, looking.
Yep.
So, yeah, I really just don't understand it. And the thing is, like, some of the NFTs, like, I've heard ideas of what they could be used for in the future. And, like, I do agree that there are some things that it could be good for, but if it's not sustainable, it's not worth it.
The thing is, for me, most NFTs are things like you get an image. The one that's super popular is like these monkey NFTs. It's just an image. It's a really bad image as well. Like, no criticism to the artist other than you're an NFT artist, therefore I don't give a shit. But like, it's not good artwork particularly. It's not awful, but it's not good. And they're all the same. It's like, oh, my monkey's got a tattoo over his eye and a hat. And that other monkey's got not a tattoo over his eye and a different colored hat. And I'm like, cool, you can make that on like an avatar maker that's free. And if I want that picture of your monkey, I can right click and save. And you'll go, oh, well, it's not really yours though, because my name's attached to it on the blockchain. Doesn't matter, because if I want to use it, I can use it. Like, and if you want to one day try and copyright strike me for it, you could potentially when law catches up to it, and I'll stop using it. No skin off my back, because I downloaded it for free. I didn't pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for it. So that side of it is completely stupid. Then you hear people talk about some of the ways it could be used. For instance, NFTs in gaming, which, to be clear, NFTs in gaming will not work, because if a game company wants to develop a gun for their video game and sell it as an NFT, so you can buy the skin for that gun in that video game, and then you want to take it over to another video game, it's not going to be transferable into that other video game, because that other video game might be on a different engine. It's going to use different texture packs. It's going to use different lighting. It's going to use different modeling. It's going to be a completely different system. The only way to ensure it will work flawlessly in the other game is for the other game to make the exact same gun skin for the game for no money, because you bought it as an NFT from the first video game company. So it doesn't make any sense for them to do it, so they won't. So it won't be transferable. But even if it was, like Ubisoft did NFTs in Ghost Recon Breakpoint, where you could get like a helmet with your name on it. Okay, why don't you just let me do that for free? Or if you want to charge me for it, charge me with real money, not NFT cryptocurrency bullshit. There's no reason for it to be cryptocurrency. There's no reason for it to be an NFT. There's no reason for it to involve the blockchain and use a bunch of energy. But also, if you didn't want to be a money-grabbing scumbag company, you could literally just allow me to type in my name on a helmet in-game as a cosmetic, so that when I'm playing with my friends, they can see my name on the back of my helmet. Like, it's that simple. So there's literally been no point where I can see NFTs ever having any purpose. The cryptocurrency stuff, I don't know enough to know categorically that it will never have any use, but I still don't see any use in it. The only thing that I can see with cryptocurrency and the blockchain is that people go, oh, well, it's decentralized money. So it's not dependent on, you know, the pound sterling or the US dollar or whatever. Okay. Instead, it's dependent on the value
there's still an exchange rate.
Yeah,
though.
exactly.
Like,
it's still dependent on another market. It's just not based in the country. So I guess, sure, if war breaks out there, it's not going to affect the cost of Ethereum. Sure. But if people aren't buying Ethereum, it's still like, so it's still affected by stuff, just not necessarily tied to countries and their ongoing politics. So,
I mean, I guess it depends, because like when I was looking it up, I was really struggling to see the point of it, and I was like, it's literally someone just decided I want to make a currency, and the way that they're going to get this currency is by doing algorithms on a computer.
mm-hmm.
Like, to me, that in itself is a ridiculous idea. However, in the beginning, when there wasn't, like the ability to actually buy the cryptocurrency because it didn't exist, like the only way you could get Bitcoin is if you mined it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could pay for goods using it, and then you have that trade. But then they introduced, people were like, oh, but I want to buy Bitcoin with actual money.
Mm-hmm.
So then it's no different from anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if like someone else is like, oh, I want like however many Bitcoin for this product, those Bitcoin were probably still purchased using a different currency.
Yep.
So like,
so what
when
it's
you
used
give
for a
over
lot
that Bitcoin, and the item that you're buying with that Bitcoin
is also available in real money.
Yeah, exactly.
Most of the time.
It's
But
it's just another step for no reason.
No, but you're missing one thing that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are used for a lot, which is money laundering.
Well, there's that. Yeah.
So there is a reason for it, money laundering. But also, I can't remember if it was the creator of Bitcoin or the creator of NFTeez. It was one of the two. The creator of it decried what it's being used for and was like, it was a mistake. So, like, that kind of tells you everything. But no, if you want to see something really just like through the uncanny valley, just like fucking weird, there is a Jimmy Fallon interview, I think it's with Paris Hilton, where they're talking about their NFT apes, and it literally, you're like, has someone brainwashed you two, or is someone pointing a gun at you just off camera? Because those are the only two reasons to explain why the fuck you're talking about this, and so enthusiastically. It makes no sense. The only like realistic reactions I've seen of celebrities talking about NFTs is either people decrying it, like Keanu Reeves, oh that makes sense, or it's people who are just like, I got given one. So like Tom Holland mentioned he had an NFT in an interview once, and he was like, yeah, I got given it as a Christmas present, and he just said it as an offhand remark, and I was like, I feel like behind your offhand remark, you were like, when you got given it as a Christmas present, you're like, I don't mean to be ungrateful, but what the fuck is this? Like,
well, it's funny you should say that, actually, because I can't remember if it was like a DC or a Marvel thing, but I got given an NFT of a comic, or like the art of the cover art of a comic.
Yeah.
And I feel shit for even having that. like I literally don't even know how to access it or where it was anymore. But like even knowing that it is in my possession, I'm just like, I just don't want it.
The thing with NFTs, right, is it's literally just the more modern way and the less green way of doing, you can buy like a plot of land in Scotland and then you can call yourself a lord. Or you can buy a star and name it after someone. Except for with the star one, it's even more stupid because there are loads of different registries that go, oh, you can buy this star millions of light years away. Mm-hmm. That conflict with each other. So there are multiple people who own the same star. But with the plot of land in Scotland, I believe it is like a couple of organizations that own different bits of land in Scotland. So you're not going to own the same plot of land as someone else. But also, who cares? You will never be able to go to that part of Scotland and go, this is actually my plot of land and I'm going to build on it, because it's so tiny that it's worthless. So literally the only thing is for the gimmick of them being able to say, well, you've got a title now with it. So at least
also
that has...
the title isn't even that, like you can't put your title officially on documents or anything.
Can you not? I didn't know that.
Well, probably not, because it's in a different country. It doesn't really affect your standing at all.
No, it's literally just for a joke. But at least with that one, I'm like, okay, well, there's a little bit of a joke there, and it doesn't, it's not got any kind of like carbon footprint really to it. So whatever. But like, it's the same logic as with an NFT. This NFT that you own somewhere of some cover art for a comic or whatever, if you want to know how you can view it, you can look up that piece of artwork. If you want to know where your ownership is, it's on some database somewhere with your name against that piece of artwork. So who cares? Like, is the bottom line to it. No one's ever going to care that technically you own that piece of artwork. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I legitimately, I can make this as a promise, even if it's my mother who does it one day. If someone buys me an NFT as like a birthday or a Christmas present and goes, oh, I got you this JPEG, it cost me £100,000 or £10,000 or £1,000 in Ethereum or whatever, I'll be like, you're a fucking idiot and I don't want it.
Just bin it.
Yeah, like I reject your gift and you're a fucking idiot for even buying it.
This is now against the name of this bin. This now belongs to the bin.
Yeah. So if you're wondering whether the Higgledy Piggledy podcast, if we ever become super successful, will ever get into cryptocurrencies or NFTs, no. Surprisingly,
definitely not. Yeah, fuck that. I just think the whole thing's so ridiculous.
Yeah,
like, what is the world coming to?
Yeah.
You look like the sort of person that liked this video. If you did, why not just go and check out our full podcast? I shall put the link up somewhere along here, and we're good. So now that I've done that, why don't you go and like, comment, and subscribe? Think about it.